Hello, everybody, and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room with myself, Louis. Today, I'm joined by Kris, Jay, and Drew. And as you can already tell by the title, we are discussing arguably two of our most important players over the last 3 to 4 seasons. It is, of course, Sadio Mane and Mohamed Salah, who's currently playing, just kicking off in the second half of the AFCON final for Egypt. Me and Jay have got that on the side whilst we stream. So hoping for a positive result for him, I think, but we'll get on to that shortly. Good to have people joining the stream already. Please make sure you do get your comments and opinions in as we get into it. Kris, how are you doing, my friend?
All right, just walk the dog. I'm having a beer, a better toasty, and now he keeps on bothering me because he wants ham. That's basically what's happening right now.
The weekend starting earlier for you, Kris?
I'm not a big beer drinker, to be honest. Mainly because I can't really control myself when it happens. So yeah, a bit of a teetotaler at times. Yeah, but I think that the weekend's definitely starting early, especially if we have an all Liverpool based final.
Yeah, well, hopefully it's still 0-0 at the moment. As I said, second half just kicking off. Jay, how you doing?
Good, mate. Looking forward to proper football back Sunday with us playing and Thiago Elliott back, potentially seeing Diaz. I'm proper excited for the game, to be honest.
Yeah, I know we've had obviously transfer deadline day to cushion the blow of no football, but it still felt like years since we last played. So even though it's just the FA Cup against Cardiff, it'll be good to have us back. Drew, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Bit like Jay, waiting for the footy to get back on. I'm at my lunch break now, and you could use the Liverpool fix. So hopping
Brilliant. Hyla, good to see you. Nice to have you here. Lycos, I will explain that, asking about, is this even a debate? Mane's been underperforming the last few games. I don't think anyone will disagree with you, and we have had a debate in the past about Sadio Mane's performances. However, I want to caveat this debate by just saying we're going to come at it more from a perspective of, if both of them are in their absolute primes, who are we going to go for? But we'll get into that in a minute. Adam as well. Nice to see you. Do we save a lot of time and just say Salah and call it a night? Well, if that's your opinion, we'll have at it and we'll see how things go. So we'll go back to Lycos' comment on Mane and Kris. It's fair to say he hasn't performed brilliantly this season, but still has a lot to offer this Liverpool side, surely.
Yeah, he's got a lot to offer, but we're starting to see glimpses of inconsistency that really are going to be a problem if they continue. He's a player that's extremely complete, and on his day, he's extremely dangerous. But in my humble opinion, I believe that we're starting to see elements that suggest that he's past his peak and he's going to find it difficult to get back to that form. However, I will say that he did have moments like this in the past and he did come back.
That's true. That's what I've always said. But Jay, it feels like these moments are becoming a lot more frequent and a lot more, there's less to prove the doubters wrong in between these moments. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think the season we won the league and the Champions League, he was unplayable. Like, he was making Bayern Munich defenders look amateur. That's how good he was. But I think last season with COVID was the first time we've seen the start of his decline. And I've got to be honest, I don't think he's ever really got back to the levels of the 2 seasons before. I think last season was, by his standards, a poor season. And this season, his numbers aren't bad, but I wouldn't say he's had a great season, to be honest.
Drew, what are your thoughts on this season in particular? Do you think it's a decline or just an extended off spout?
I was looking at the stats before we started the stream, and that season that we won the Champions League, he had 18 goals and 9 assists in the league, or 18 goals and 11 assists in the league. And then the following season, he had 11 goals, 8 assists. And this season he's only got 8 goals and 1 assist. And for me, the assist stat is probably the most worrying because, Salah's putting in the assists this season, and Mane, we want him to score goals. As long as he's scoring goals, it doesn't really matter. He's in the link-up play, but it's just consecutively now that his numbers are just dropping. I know we still have more time left in the season, but his run of form was just so poor. The question is, can he bring it back? Because it's been 2 straight seasons of decline.
And Kris, is that his all-round game has fallen off, or are we focusing more on his assists and goals? What we would most want from a Liverpool winger, or is it his general play is starting to fall off?
No, I think it's his general play. When you look at the dribbling stats, when you look at the chances created, when you look at his ability to get past people compared to the past, he really is dropping off. And it's not to be unexpected. Salah, we need to remember that Salah is something of an anomaly. He treats himself like a god, and as a result, he will continue. But all players drop off. Cristiano Ronaldo went to Italy for a reason, and he scored a bag load of goals, but he completely changed the way he played. Salah can no longer operate like a winger in a way, game by game, that we need. Now, that's not to say he won't come back, but with the amount of football that's happening at the moment, I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening unless he gets a really big rest this summer. I don't think it's looking that likely. So for me personally, with all of the statistics and all of those contributing variables, it's really difficult to see where he uses a springboard to get himself back to where he used to be.
And Adam, thank you again, everybody who is commenting and watching so far. Says every player has ups and downs. My analysis is less about stats and more about what eyeballs see in their play. So let's take that, and Jay, I'll come back to you. What do you see with your eyeballs? So ignoring the assists and goals have been down, what frustrates you the most about him this season?
What I see with him when he plays, it's similar to what Kris said. It's not about numbers, and I've said this on this many a time. People get overexcited about assists and goals. Pogba's got 7 assists this season. He's barely played. Pirlo isn't someone who gets 10 assists a season and 15 goals, but he was an unbelievable footballer. For me, when I watch Mane, it's just a lack of confidence. He's second-guessing himself all the time. I think when we won the Champions League and the Premier League, he knew what he was going to do. He was just going to wrestle you off the ball or knock a past you, run, dribble. Now I think he second-guesses himself, and it affects him all round. Even sometimes now, when he's got a chance on goal, you have to put your mortgage on him to put it away a few years ago. Now, sometimes you won't. He's not as clinical as he was, and his dribbling isn't what it was, like Kris said. So I think it's a confidence issue, to be honest, but it's been going on now for the whole of last season pretty much, and obviously the start of this season, I think.
Don't you think,
Drew,
Jay? Sorry. Don't you think, Jay, that he's just as the peak is often considered for a winger 27? Don't you think that he's just lost a yard?
No, mate. I think him and Salah are different to most players. The condition they keep themselves in, the teetotal, like Milner. Milner's still arguably the fittest player on the team. Well, that's what you're hearing training. He's the oldest player on the team. So I don't think it's about the peak. And let's remember, he is 29, so he should still be in his peak, really. I think him and Salah look after themselves that much physically. I don't think that's the issue. I think it's in his head, personally.
I mean, just jumping off that, for me, it's always been about what's frustrating me the most with Mane is on the ball. He's never looked like the tidiest player. I don't know if anyone completely disagrees with that, but I felt like he's always had the ability to have the touch of a fridge when the ball comes to him in a tight area. I felt he's struggled to, but it's been highlighted as well this season that he's unless he's got the run on somebody, if he's surrounded by 2-3 players, I feel like most of the time he struggles to get out, or if he does, the ball will trickle out for a goal kick or something. I don't know if if Drew, if you've noticed that as well, or if you think it's something different, maybe a loss of pace. I don't know.
I think it's exactly what Jay said, loss of confidence. I remember reading that Klopp had him watching like videos of himself from previous seasons. And it's like, why would you have a player do that unless to show them what you're capable of? And seeing Mane with his touch, like I think his spatial awareness is brilliant. And in terms of what he can do with the ball. And in the AFCON, he's actually had a really good tournament. And yesterday showed it. Like he scored a goal, he created an assist, and on the assist, he like with his spatial awareness, he took the ball away from a player on the byline, put it in, cross goal. And then his goal was, the typical goal or occasion we've seen this season where he'll be one-on-one and he just shanks it. And this time he clipped it over the keeper, just beautiful finish. And that's where I'd say with Jay, it's like, for me, it's a confidence thing, but I'm hoping that that's a good thing that he can get back. And maybe with Luis Diaz, he's got the pressure that kind of Andy Robertson saw with Tsimikas. So that's, best case scenario. But if he can't sort that out, we can't keep giving him game time, waiting for him to figure it out.
And Mo Salah just fluffed a one-on-one there. He was through on goal and couldn't dribble it around the keeper. So maybe he's falling off as well. Who knows? So let's rewind it with Sadio Mane, because I know we've criticised him a lot this season. Jay, you've spoken a couple of times about the Champions League winning season, etc., etc. What excited you the most about him in that era, I guess you'd call it?
His power and pace. He'd wrestle anyone off the ball. Didn't matter if you were 6'5", twice his size. He'd wrestle you off the ball. I've never seen anyone use the body like Mane, other than maybe Hazard, but he used to just stick his bum out. Whereas Mane's actual full-on strength. I actually said that, following on what Drew said about him having a good AFCON, I thought this might be the best thing that can happen for him. To be the leader of the Senegal team, have a good tournament, and then his head's back in the game, that he is a leader and he is a top player. So part of me actually wants Senegal to win this AFCON on the basis of that, because Salah's already flying mentally. He thinks he's the best. Sadio probably needs something like this to believe in himself again. But just his energy, mate, his strength, everything about his game, Jordan, then was brilliant.
Kris, I just wonder if part of it, I agree, confidence must be a major issue, because he is getting in those positions and he is getting those chances, but he's just not able to take them. But in terms of his general play, do you feel part of it is down to the tactical evolution of the team? I know that on the right side, we've obviously got that triangle that's happening really frequently with the right-sided 8 playing further forward and swapping quite fluently with the right back and Salah. It feels like there's less activity going on the left, and it's more Mane and Robertson kind of left to it themselves. Do you think that kind of isolates him a little bit, maybe?
Well, yeah, completely. I completely agree with that. But theoretically, what that should do, it should draw the team to the other side. So by drawing the defense to the other side, Mane should have more opportunities. And that's proven true with Jota, for example, who's now very famous for his back post antics. As a result of playing over this side of the pitch, Trent can deliver over the other side and Jota can break through. It's very obvious that's a tactic. But what I will say is that in so much as that Robertson, there are ideas that Robertson got better as a result of the pressure on him from Tsimikas. I couldn't disagree with that more. The reason I couldn't disagree with that more is because the top professionals like Robertson, they're so good day in, day out training. It's unreal. But you don't, and I don't understand that. I don't understand. But when I say you, I mean as in me too. We don't understand the amount of football these guys play. And the absolute strain on their bodies is ridiculous. Klopp goes on about it all the bloody time. He's always talking about it. They play too much football. Sadio Mane and Robertson, for example, haven't had a rest in 4 years? maybe, and that's if I'm being generous. Maybe 5. So that's the left side of the pitch. What a coincidence. Tsimikas comes in, plays a couple of games. Robertson gets a rest, comes back in and plays better again. Oh, it's because Tsimikas put pressure on Robertson? No, not at all. Robertson doesn't need pressure. Maybe it helps now and again, yes, but in this instance, I just don't believe it to be true. Tsimikas comes in, gives a bit of rest for Robertson, and then he's got fresh legs. I think the Klopp is bringing in Diaz just to freshen up Mane, and that's the reason why I think he can become again what he was. And maybe Jay's right, maybe Drew's right, maybe it's mentally as well, just to say to him, don't have to think of yourself to have so much pressure, sunshine. Don't worry about it. Maybe that's true because psychology does play a huge part in sport. However, personally, for me, I think that if Mane had a month off, we'd see a different player. That's my perspective.
So, Drew, I'll come to you on that as well because, yeah, that's exactly what we saw with Tsimikas and Robertson. Does the Diaz signing potentially facilitate that, the upturn of his form finally?
Yeah, I definitely don't think it's the main contribution towards the form of Mane or Robertson. I can respect what Kris says, but I definitely think there's something behind it where if you're out for a little while and you see another player doing well in your position, you're like, hold on, mate, like that's my spot. Like, and I'm going to show you that that's my spot. And that's about it. Like, that's as far as that can go for that. And I think the really big players come up and want to make sure that no one else has their position but them. And that's, for me, the mentality, the hunger, the drive, like Jota coming in and just being like, you know what, like I deserve to be in this and I'm going to keep putting in performances and make Klopp, try not to pick me. That's the kind of hunger that I like seeing. And I think that to tie this in with Kris's point, I think Mane probably could be burnt out for a bit, every player probably. And with the COVID being quarantined, I can't imagine the psychological effects there, but the amount of games that they played with the schedules being compacted, like, there's so many influences there. But I can only see good things from Luis Diaz coming into the team, like a fresh bit of energy and training. You get more, players get a chance to see who they're going to be playing with. It just bodes well for the future with Liverpool. And I don't think there's any negatives coming from it. And again, I hope that Mane does come back and, like Jay said, this African Cup of Nations run, if he wins it, which I'm kind of leaning towards now for my preference, to give him that confidence to come back and just absolutely, start firing again in the Premier League and Champions League.
Well, I think we've focused on Mane for a fair chunk of this now. So moving over to the other side, which is obviously Mohamed Salah. I mean, Jay, he's just a different beast entirely, isn't he?
Yeah, this game's gone up a level again this season. He used to frustrate me a little bit, Salah, that he wouldn't get his head up. And you're seeing it with Mane, you're getting frustrated with him that he wouldn't pass sometimes, not this season. And I actually think the reason Salah's got better numbers again this season is because he's getting his head up again. In his first season, when he got all them goals, the 31 in the league, he got a bag full of assists as well, because I don't think he was just hell-bent on goals alone. But I think the 3 seasons after it was his main focus to score. But I feel like this season, he's happy to do both again, and that's why his assists have gone up again. I feel like he gets his head up a lot more now than he has done last season and the season before.
Kris, is this the absolute peak that we've seen of Salah? I mean, assists and goals aside, which are on course to match or even better his first season, his general all-round play, is it the best we've seen, or do you prefer a different alteration of him?
It's difficult to say because we do play in a very different way than the first season he was at Liverpool, and it's important to remember that when this iteration of Klopp's Liverpool is very different from the one in the first season of Salah. Why? Because teams aren't going to attack against us to leave any space. If teams played against us in the way they did in the first season when Salah was at the club, I think it's 2017, you would see goals like no one's business. So it's very difficult to compare, especially when the vast majority of the league don't want to do anything other than a low block, even Chelsea. So those things are quite difficult. I feel like it's oranges and apples, but I do think that now we're seeing, like Jay said, a more mature player. He doesn't look like he's looking for the goal all the time. He doesn't look like he's only got one trick, cut inside and hit it in the far post. He looks like I'll be honest, he looks like the sort of Italian attacking midfielder at times that we all used to love and know. The Nedveds, the Del Pieros coming deep, little 1-2s on the edge of the box to create space for other people. And then at the other end, he looks like this absolutely howling winger, Robin. So I do think that we're talking about quite possibly one of the greatest players to ever grace the Premier League. And quite frankly, there are days when I watch him and think he's a bit, he might be better than Henry, you know. But, you know, truth will tell.
I do just want to stick with you because I wanted to ask you this, funnily enough. There was a tweet from this football account that said that Mane and Salah, in some ways, obviously not in all ways, are similar in their duo abilities to Robin and Ribéry, and they compared Mane to Ribéry in their like unpredictability in 1v1s, and then they compared Robin and Salah mainly for his ability to cut in and looking for that. I assume from your answer you disagree with that entirely.
Robin was an extremely effective winger and probably the best winger that I've ever seen, but he was a winger and he did not score as many goals as he should have. People think about Robin and you play video games and he's got 95 rating. Nowhere near, no. Why? Because he didn't score that many goals and he didn't assist that many goals. So therefore, there was something lacking in his game at some point, especially when you're playing for a club like Bayern Munich, who create as many chances and dominate the game as they do. Big game player, yes. Electrifying, yes. On Salah's level, not even close. Same with Hazard. It's ridiculous, the comparisons between Hazard and Salah. Very different players, but not in the same ballpark, unfortunately. As for Mane, Ribéry, I can see that. That's closer. Ribéry was a very silky operator. Mane's a little bit of a dirty dribbler. So in style, a little bit different. But I can see what someone's trying to say in regards to loose comparisons.
And Drew, this season, Salah obviously has been incredible. I'll ask you the same question I asked before. Is this the best version of him that we've seen?
Yeah, I think so. Jay and Kris kind of hit the nail on the head with the maturity and the development of his game. And I think that the biggest part for me is his ability to finish with fewer chances. Like Kris was saying that when he first came to the team, like, you know, teams were attacking and giving us more space and not just sitting back and defending. And I remember that season, he'd have like 5 chances and make only 2. And I'd be frustrated. You know, people would be like, "Oh my God, he's amazing." I'm like, "Yeah, but he's missing, 2-3 sitters a game." But his game has continued to develop. And this season, he just seems way more clinical with fewer opportunities. And back to what Jay said about him being more willing to pass the ball for an assist. Sometimes I'm almost frustrated that he's giving the ball away when he's in the box. Like, I'm just like, you have a shot there. I trust you more than anyone right now. Besides you and Jota, you're the ones putting the ball in the back of the net. Don't give it up. So I definitely think that this is his best season. And it's amazing that his professionalism and what he does behind the scenes to keep himself in good shape. He hasn't been injured, all of those things. Like, I certainly hope we get this contract sorted because he's found a new level, and it'll be really curious to see if he can carry on like this for the next 2-3 seasons.
So, Jay, before we compare the two, I just want to ask you, obviously they play on opposite sides of the pitch, but I guess you have to include Firmino or Jota in the middle as well. But how well do these two complement each other?
Mane and Salah.
And that doesn't have to be a sorry, that doesn't have to be. They don't have to complement each other if you don't think they do, in your opinion. But
I don't think they interlink that much in terms of complementing each other that much. They're both fast and they both understand each other's runs in terms of that. But they link up. You know, I wouldn't say they link up as much anymore as when we have Firmino. Because they used to actually swap sides every now and then for making runs, and rare you see that now, to be honest. So I wouldn't say they complement each other that much anymore, to be honest. I wouldn't. I think they need that man in the middle to do the interplay between the two.
so now we do kind of come to the point of this stream, and I think I'll go with Kris. So if you take Mane at his absolute peak and Salah probably now, it's hard to quantify this, and I don't know exactly how to formulate this question, but essentially, who would you take is the basis of it.
Well, I think, to be honest, I'd be surprised if anyone says anything different. It just have to be Salah. Mane's a very good player. He's an excellent player. Very happy he's in the team. I don't want him to leave. I hope that he regains his confidence. For me, he's something of a legend. But at the end of the day, Salah's on a different level. And all of the comments, that excluding the ones that are just shouting beard, basically all of the comments are just along those lines. And I understand why people think, well, it's not even a debate. But at the end of the day, when we've got two fantastic players like this, these are the moments when we should be celebrating, and we are celebrating it. This is what it's about, just talking about it and saying, Jesus Christ, what levels are we talking about? Because I remember, and I'm sure Jay and Drew do, and you, Lou, we used to have Craig Bellamy and Dare Kite on the wing.
Maxi Rodriguez,
amazing player, lovely guy. Not going to win you the league. Joe Cole, not going to. Alvaro Riera, not going to win you the league. Like, Mark Gonzalez, what? Why?
The great Milan Jovanovic.
Oh. You know, these just, and we just need to start, like, when we're having these conversations, and you know, we've got Helia in comments and La Cosa, for example. When we're having these conversations, it's about understanding that. It's about understanding where we're at, what levels we're actually talking about. Because for me personally, we're literally in the best age of Liverpool. For me personally, we don't win the league. Okay, no worries. I'm loving watching them right now, and I'm giddy to get up and say, Divock Origi, thank you very much. Don't know what's going on in your head, but if you score in last minute winners, amazing. Do you see what I'm trying to get at?
So Drew, Dan's just asked, I want to, obviously, if anyone has any questions, we'd be more than happy to get those to the boys in the stream. He says, do you agree that Mane is a better creator, but Salah is a better finisher?
I think maybe in Mane's peak season. I think for me, I actually, back in that Champions League season with Mo being a little selfish, in my opinion, I was of the opinion if we had to let one go, that I'd let Mo go before Mane. And it's only in recent seasons that I've changed that opinion. But I thought Mane was like the complete player, and in that Champions League run, I think Jay said it in the first few minutes of the stream, the way he bullied Bayern Munich's defense was just unbelievable. I think there was like YouTube videos with like Ox and Robertson, just one of those like Saturday socials or something, saying that Mane was the strongest in the squad. And it showed. Like, I think the word Jay used was bullied, but yeah, he bullied defenders. I remember him like with Leicester and Newcastle in the like midfield and defense. It's just like throwing their hands up, like, what can we do? But for provider or creator, I don't know. I think Mane, I said before, his spatial awareness is brilliant. I think that's with him on the ball. And if he looks up and finds the right pass, I don't think he always has the best final third ball. But I don't think either, like Salah too. I think Salah is the better finisher for sure. So that answers that argument. But I don't know if either of them would be considered the best creators.
Yeah, I've never, especially Mane, I've never thought of him as a creator. I mean, obviously he does have assists, but I've never thought of him as a prime creator in our side. So it's an interesting question, something that I never thought about. And Jay, coming to you with the same question: Mane or Salah in their peak?
To be honest, what Drew just said was pretty much spot on for myself. The league sees me when they're in the Champions League, as I've always picked Mane, but I think his decline last season and continuing into this season, and obviously the fact that Salah got us in the Champions League last season, let's not joke about it. Without his goals, we don't finish third. This season, he took his game to another level. So right now, it would be hard not to say Salah because he's still playing at that level and Mane isn't. I just hope that getting Diaz now will give Mane the push that he needs, whether it be because this is my spot, you're not taking it, like Drew said, and also the fact that he can have a bit of a rest, like Kris said. I think both of them things are just as equally as important as each other in a sense. You need someone to be able to kick it up your own bum to stay in the team, and obviously you need that rest to be fresh. So I'll say Salah because he's had the numbers every season, but I agree with Drew. Except for last season, I'd have always picked Mane before Salah. Right now, I'd say Salah.
Kris, I don't know if you need to hop off in a sec.
Yeah, I got to get going. Got a few things I need to do. Lovely chat, lads. Hope we're not gonna fall out over the fact that you disagree with me. Right. Thank you very much, lad. Lovely to see you. And let's hope for an exciting final.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Not long
See
now.
you later. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate. Take care.
So not too long. Oh, Adam says thank you, Kris. Shame you didn't see that, but thank you all the same. Assuming, well, before we talk about AFCON, another interesting thing that I've seen, not just on Twitter, but in social media in general, when it comes to the Mo Salah discussion, people dismiss his technical ability, and they often, when they compare him to a Hazard or whoever they feel like comparing him to on that day, they often say that this other player is a better footballer, but Salah's a better goal scorer. I don't know what you two think about that, because I've always thought that's really weird, because isn't the whole point of a football game to score more goals than the opposition? Surely being a brilliant goal scorer in turn makes you a really good footballer.
I'll jump on just real quick and say, did anyone see the goal against Manchester City?
Exactly. I mean, there are countless examples anyway. Watford, Man City, plenty before that. What is your take on that whole idea, Drew?
I just don't think they watch Liverpool enough, because they probably see the highlights, they probably see the goals, and they're like, oh, that's his whole game. But there's plenty of examples in a match where there'll be a Virgil van Dijk, 40-yard ping diagonal ball that he just sits down on top of his foot, and his first touch is just amazing. So I think they're not watching Liverpool enough to see that he's technically a very gifted player.
I mean, I'm sure when they say technical, they just mean, fair play. He doesn't do a lot of step overs and then ultimately not beat the man and pass it sideways. If that's what someone needs to do to prove they're an excellent technical player, then go off. But it's all very strange to me. So coming to AFCON, we are approaching the end of the stream. I think we've covered a lot quite well, and it was going to be difficult to argue that Mane is the better player at this point. Jay, if Egypt get through to the final, it's still 0-0. It is Mane versus Salah. Sorry, I know we don't want it to become purely about them two, but we all know that's what the media are going to push on it. If you have to pick at this point, who do you prefer to win the AFCON?
A few reasons. Senegal. Senegal haven't won it in I'm not sure if they even have won it. Egypt have won it numerous times. And I think Mane needs it. I don't think Salah does. I said it before, didn't I? You've seen Salah in interviews say, I always think I'm the best in the world. And I don't think he's saying that cocky. It's just he has to believe in himself to play at that level.
Yeah.
Mane certainly doesn't think that about himself. And I think him leading Senegal to winning a cup like that might give him that bit of belief and self-confidence again to understand how good a player he is. Because when we're saying he's dropped off, you've got to remember the standard he set, how good he was in that Champions League and Premier League season. You know, we're not talking someone who just had a good season. We're talking one of the best forwards in the world. So, you know, dropping off doesn't mean he isn't still a top player. But I think Senegal winning it would benefit Mane more than Salah. I don't think Salah needs it. I think Mane does more.
Sorry, there was just a chance for Cameroon there. I thought they were in. So, Drew, from what we've talked about, I feel like you're probably on the same wavelength as Jay in terms of it's better for Mane's confidence. But I'll put... do you agree with that, first of all? Is that your general position?
I do. The one caveat would be I'd want Salah to win it, so there'd be absolutely no excuse for him getting the Ballon d'Or. Like, if
That's
he
exactly...
wins, yeah.
That's exactly where I was going to go in terms of Mo Salah's legacy, because if anyone's going to win a top award, it's him. So do you push it for Salah so that, you know, he's won a continental competition, so surely you can't ignore him, because that's what they've all said is the big thing.
Do you know what, though, boys? Sorry to cut in. Does that help the contract negotiations if he comes back winning the AFCON?
I made this point to Jay before we went live, and he sort of brushed it off. But if he comes back with a continental international trophy, suddenly that's got to be an extra 100 bags going on top. So, and I don't know if FSG will pay it. I mean, they're struggling
Senegal.
now, so
Senegal, yeah, boys.
Suddenly, I think my mind's been made up. So, but no, I think despite the slightly clickbaity title, I think we've had a relatively sensible discussion. No one's made any bombastic claims, and hopefully everybody in the chat and watching feels that that's the case as well. I think we'll call it an end there. So thank you very much, Drew, and thank you, Jay, for coming on. Thank you for Kris as well. Thank you to everybody in the comments, Hyla, Adam, Lyco, sir. Was anybody else that I missed? Banana Man is one comment and then he was off, but a brilliant one all the same. Thank you very much. And Dan as well. So this has been the LFC Transfer Room, another episode of the Debate Room. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.